And we're in the Lemon. So, we have cracks in the windscreen, so a new windscreen will have to be done once it's insured for back on the road. But basically it's just kind of been a storage area for stuff, for seats and lights and somewhere to catch all the bird poo. So, I think it's time to put it back on the road. Brakes aren't looking too great either, so I'm going to do a couple of things today. I'm going to go through the list of MOT fails which I created for a little car meet. We got a little car group for local car enthusiasts here, that are all fans of Piggy Power, and I basically broke a few things. I didn't broke them, I made them MOT fails. So I've got to go through those and just correct them. Washers, horn, I twisted a brake cable, a few little things, just to sort of, sticker right in the windscreen. So we're going to correct all those today. There's also a CV boot inner one that needs to be fixing. So we're going to sort all those things today, and maybe even give it a wash. And then just run up and down the driveway a few times to hopefully clean up the brakes. There are actual spiders and their webs living in my engine bay. Trying to remember where I was at with this. I certainly need some new brackets for the radiator. That's for sure. I was in the middle of getting rid of finally this, so we can move the throttle position from the engine bay, actually where it is, to the throttle pedal. And we've got a new coolant bottle with the connections right in the centre here. Tiggy sorted that now, so we can move those two pipes across. And I will be looking to take this off, or I think I've got a spare one, and blanking that off, and then put in a little, what's the word? Drain, whatever it's called. The thing that a pipe goes onto. Not a banjo, can't think of the word. Not a nipple either. Somehow sort of plastic glue araldite that in there. That's the plan, because it's just too close to the radiator. I don't like that. What we have done in the meantime, we've sorted out the inner CV boot, we've serviced the calipers, just dirt, old grease, and then under here, what have we done? This pipe here was all rubbing, and this all here was dangling down, so we've cable tied that back in its original position, and then we've taken the little noggins, it looks a bit rough but it's nice and smooth, off the front of the aircon to allow this pipe here not to rub anymore, and then routed it and held it here, because actually this piece here is connected to the radiator, not the engine, so we don't want it tied to the engine and moving around all the time. And then noticed on the gears, when you're changing gears sometimes, you feel it like you're pushing against the engine sometimes, rattling against it in reverse. It's terrible. So I was going to have a play with the linkages, and then realised that the V-band clamp there had spun round and got loose, and you can see it been rubbing on the gear rod there at the back there, that black bar that's got all those rub marks on it. So we've obviously spun it round, done it back up properly, and that's sorted that problem out. I'll get on with it, and you can go and get yourself a cup of tea and have an Oreo. We like Oreos today. That, however, might be a bit of an issue, which is annoying because the water pump's done about 500 miles. So we better take all the belts off and see if it's a core plug or water pump or the seal. This is coming up a bit cleaner, so that's good. It looks like the head gasket's failed on the corner of the head. So I just can't believe it. It looks like I'm going to have the head off this thing again. Think it might be the coolant coming out of there, by any chance? Might just be the core plug. Yeah, that's the leak. So, kind of pluses and negatives. One, it's not the head gasket. Two, it's still annoying and it's in a pig of a place to sort out. But I might even have one in stock because I ordered two when I ordered the back one. So, we will pull it out, put a screw in it and try and lever that out. And then, obviously you could just araldite it up, but obviously it needs to come out. And then we will put the new one in. It's out. Very odd, because actually literally just corroded in the centre. But because of that, when you put in like a grub screw and lever it on it, which is what I normally do to pull these out, just wouldn't have it. So many levers and screwdrivers to pull it out. I made a bit of a mess of it in the process. But then we've obviously measured it then with calipers here. It's 25mm plug. It's probably a zinc coated just steel, which is why it's gone. You can get stainless steel ones. I've gone for brass ones They will last longer than the zinc coated ones, and they're a little bit softer than the stainless steel, which should make a good seal. And that's what we're going for. So I've ordered a couple of them. Company I've ordered the core plugs off before. They're actually on eBay, and they're like £3 each. So I've ordered a pair in case I have muller one up putting it in. And in the meantime, we're just going to go through these threads again, which have been an issue. I might have to put nut inserts in them because they've been an issue before. And we'll prepare by putting the coolant tank on, the new one. And then we're ready for the core plug when it arrives.
Okay, so we didn't have any audio. I can't remember why. I'm pointing at Rusty Gaz. Get annoyed with them another day. Put new discs on. Cleaned a few things up. I'm looking at dirt. Not sure why. Shining exhaust. Very nice. Always. No idea. That works. That's okay. Nice. Very good. Oh, I raised the suspension 20mm on the rear. Yep. And heads up to Axles by Steph. Supplied some more stainless bits there. Thank you very much. And put new seals on there because I didn't put them on right, which gained about 5mm width.
We have put 2 brackets on, which are good fun because the front crush structure membrane. I'm very tired once again, as usual. Can't get my words out, sorry. The front brace cross member thing kind of has all these different weird shapes, so you've got to bend the bracket and all sorts. We put riv nut in there, nice little nut and washer, bolt and washer, nice little bit of stability there, pulling the radiator in, same this side. Again, this is all funky shapes. Might just have to give it another little tweak. That one's tweaked that way slightly, and that one's still tweaking up a little bit, and that one's just tweaking that way a little bit. But a little tweak on the vice, and they're perfect. Again, a riv nut into the front there. That tidies it up nice for me. So the old ones were flimsy and moving around, and this holds it really nice and stable and gives us a tiny bit more clearance down there. I'm still not quite sure what we're going to do there. We might pull the pipe back a little bit like that. I might just cut it off, glue that, and put a tap barb there. That's probably what I'm going to do, because I just don't like the idea of that smashing into the radiator constantly. So this is what I'm resorting to here, because I haven't got a lathe, and core plugs seem to come in 24mm or 25mm. I cannot find anything in between, and I need it at like 24.8. The 25mm core plugs, the interference area is like 25.4, so yeah, it's not fitting in the hole, and the 24 is just loose. So it's been a week now since I've ordered them, so I'm down, as this is the brass one, basically I've got a socket that I've ground down to fit inside the plug. That's attached to a drill, and then we've got a almost worn out flat disc that basically I'm not actually spinning that, I'm spinning that against the flat disc, and then a bit of wet and dry just to polish it off. We're down to 25.25 now. Sorry, bugs around my face. We're down to 25.23, so I need down to about 25 and it'll fit. So that's where we're at. Machining. Old school. So there we go. Sort of all polished up. And down to the size we need. We haven't lost actually that much sidewall, thankfully. Pretty good. As it was originally, it's just about a 0.5 millimetre narrower. So it's almost sort of holds itself in just initially as you push in. So hopefully we can tap it in the rest of the way. Alternatively, I've got a bolt and a spacer, so I can use the side of the chassis leg and push this into the engine. So we're going to give that a go now. And that's our little device just to push it in, because you can't get much of a hammer swing in there, unfortunately. But there we go. It's good enough, isn't it? It'll do the job, I hope. Core plug. Be done! Don't leak again! Now folks, so the new one is in. The old one I asked for the pipes too far across. So these pipes are a little bit in a different location. Slightly better, because obviously they don't go straight into the washer bottle, so that's no good. So we've got a bracket coming off down there, riv nut into the bodywork. It's a bit scabby, I know, in places, but this is all about mechanical goodness. And then same thing there, riv nut into the inner wing, or inner wing I suppose, splash guard, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's pretty good, nice and steady, nice matching sort of nuts and washers, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So next job is to connect up the dryer. Finally, it's all been sealed up for ages. Well, I hope it's been sealed up. Connect up our pipes, get some coolant in it, and see if she leaks or not. Hopefully she will not. She will not leak. You will not leak. It fitted. This will go hopefully not too far in the distant future when we put the throttle in inside the car. So I'll clean up that area finally, and then a little bracket just to hold this pipe, and I'm going to finalise these with crimpers, just because I don't like how messy that is. We're going to put a brass joiner, and then we're going to crimp those, make it a permanent join basically, make it one complete pipe. Okay everyone, things are coming together. So we've just run it up to, I wouldn't say it's temperature, but it's up to some temp. There's temp in the pipes and there's a bit of warmth in the car. So no dripping that I've seen as yet. But I'm going to have dinner basically, leave the cap on, keep the pressure in, and see what happens there. All the pipes seem to be where I want them to be. The overflow runs down there and down sort of perpendicular, I think that's the word, to the master cylinder, so away from any wheels and brakes and stuff that it shouldn't get on. So it'll just flood out down there. And what else? Power steering has our new little 90 going out. Notice the blank on the left, that goes straight down and then follows the main power pipe, and it was actually 3 pieces of pipe. It's now one, or hose I should say, it's now one hose that goes all the way around. I'm hoping that at some point I can nab one of these from a 206, which might happen because the 206 daily, the pink patina, might be breaking soon. I'm hoping that that might reach, so I don't have to have a joiner there, which is one, ugly, two, it's another failure point basically, because the original 306 one obviously had a different ending pipe to that. But I've tested the theory, it's not leaking, it's now just nice one hose, and we've gained all this clearance down here. I can actually get my hand between things there, which before I couldn't get a fag paper, so they say, between it. So alternator looks close, but there's a good sort of 12-13 mil there, which is more than enough. I've also made tidy this little joint here with some crimpers. I just like the way that looks. It's not plastic either, it's brass, so just for some longevity. So jobs left before MOT. I just want to make a bracket to hold this in place, just with some aluminium. Just run it just that it sort of sits somewhere suitable. It just looks a bit rubbish and I don't like it. And I've also got, what have I got? Oh, this. Tiggy did me a sports cat. Yeah. So we're going to need to fit that. Definitely need to fit. And then once it's MOT'd, we'll think about just getting rid of this ugly thing here and putting that throttle pedal inside. And later on down the line, we're going to be tidying this mess up, which, yeah, it is a total mess. But as we're going into winter, whilst this will be nice to be done pre-winter, it's not cold yet, really. And as we're going into winter, we can test this cold starting issue. And maybe the mapper can have it for a week or so when it gets really cold and we go to Scotland, and he can see if he can improve that issue, or we can diagnose the issue. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess here. Hopefully we can get rid of the filter housing, put that under the car, and just tidy all that up at some point. But yummy. Yeah, let's clean all that off. And all that, perhaps. Nice. Ah, she's a crowning beauty on this car. Sports cat! The recommissioning of the Lemoan continues. There's a few things I wanted to just get done while I have a bit of time before Kev arrives here, and so this is sort of just reliable and good for the winter. So I've gone through a few things, we'll cover them all later, but what we've just done basically this evening is made a bracket that drops down there, goes across and tags on over there. Got a riv nut in that mount there, and we've threaded the bar there. Quite OEM, I think. You don't really notice necessarily that bolt there, which goes straight through and into the bar, and then ECU holds onto that, and then our vacuum chamber bolts onto that. We're going to relocate those 2 relays, which normally are like on the back of the ECU when they used to sit over there, and hopefully relocate them. A little bracket for our gearbox breather, and once this is gone, this will be a nice tidy area, hopefully. And we now have, oh look, we've got space down here. That's right, so space down here, or space down there. Interesting. Cool. Well, I'm pleased with that. So I'm just going to relocate those relays, tied up that wiring under there because it's all getting a little bit close to the exhaust, and then clean it. I think I said on that on the end of the last video, but it really does need cleaning. So let's do that next. Coming together, boys and girls, the 1% of you that watch. Hi everyone. So we've washed the lemon. Took some real scrubbing, I've got to tell you. It needs a proper clay bar. It's amazing how a year, even like for some of it in the barn, hasn't done it any favours, the bodywork. Not that it was any good condition in the first place. But anyway, now it's raining of course, and the birds have mucked all over it. But at least it's clean now. I'll give it a quick hoover inside because it was absolutely hanging inside. So there we go. So she's sort of clean. Next stop, windscreen and MOT. So close now. So close.